And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Matthew Harms. Hey, Matthew, thanks for squeezing some time in to be with me today.
No, Michael, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, you're welcome. It's going to be a fun conversation. You and I talked a few weeks ago and just really hit it off. And Matthew he's an author of multiple books. He's a writer, and he's the founder of Pen for Hire. And so it's really interesting what he does because it's similar, obviously, to what we do with Paperback Expert, but it's different enough that as he and I talked, we said, you know what, we need to have you come on, Matthew, and talk with my audience about what you do with helping people actually write their books. So that's what I want to talk about. But as we get into that, Matthew, background, right? I could do a nice background and read your whole thing, but it's so much more fun for you to just give us a snapshot of, who you are, where do you live, and how in the world did you get into this world of writing?
So I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version, Michael. I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
Growing up, I always wanted to be a writer. I've been writing stories ever since I was a kid, get to high school age, and that's no longer really cute. Everyone says you got to go to college, get a good job, and that's where that advice stops. So got myself a finance degree because I knew people who were working on Wall Street, sounded like it was a good thing to do. Didn't realize that just because you get a finance degree, a bachelor's, doesn't mean you go to work on Wall Street. You probably have to get a master's, or you have to know somebody, or work for free as an intern for 6 months to a year. And growing up in the Bronx, I wasn't big on working for free.
There you go.
Another thing, I wish I could have went back and changed because there's something to be said for internships, but I digress. Spent about 15 years in financial services, retail banking, all the way up to management before in 2018, it finally dawned on me, what the heck am I doing? I'm miserable. Like I don't even write for myself anymore. It just, every day I came home, it sucked the passion out of me.
Yep. I call that being in prison. I've been there twice in my life. Not a good place to be.
Yeah, no, it's mental prison. In fact, yeah. I've never been to physical prison, but I would imagine that I would imagine that might actually be better for creatives like ourselves, because at least the mind's still free.
That's right. Yeah.
And you've got time to do things. So in 2018, I quit. I started working with New York City public school students on helping them with social emotional learning and writing. And while I was doing that, I started Pen for Hire, which began as just a way of like what you're doing, Michael, helping people publish their books, format it, get it on Amazon. After about 3 months, helped a few people, realized I didn't like that so much either because marketing's not my thing.
Okay.
I like the creating. And in that evolution, I started hearing more and more from clients, oh, you write books? I always wanted to write a book. And I would ask them, what did you want to write a book about? And next thing you know, it was a natural progression. We'd have a conversation and they're like, you're so good at this. Can you help me? And my career as a ghostwriter and the author coach was born kind of by accident.
Oh, that's great. And that's many times the coolest way for a dream to be born is by accident versus us trying to force it. And it just flows. And you're right, that phrase, I've always thought about writing a book. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. And I love the fact that you've created a way to break down that barrier to help people accomplish that dream, because writing a book and being a published author is not only about like what we do with business and growing a business. A lot of times it's about making an impact, telling a story that you've wanted to tell for a long time. And what you help people do is, everybody wants to write a book. They don't know how to structure it. They don't know how to do it. They don't know the syntax. They don't know the sentence structure. That's where you come in, I think, right? And help them flesh that out.
Absolutely. You make a great point. Storytelling is as old as mankind, right? From cave drawings to stories around fires. It's inside of each and every one of us. And I think it's a lot easier for people sometimes to verbalize their story because we're just natural storytellers, but the mechanics of outlining, structuring, presenting it in a way where it's going to jump off a page and someone's going to actually want to keep reading. Because when you're talking, of course, they're going to keep listening. The book, there's no one making them read.
Right. That's right. And what we have found is using our speak to write process. We do exactly that with our clients. Is our clients, I say, you've got everything in your head to get the book, to do a book. Our job is to pull it out of you, to organize it and all of that. You've got a very similar process as you work with people, and you work with business owners, but you also work with non-business owners, right? You're doing all kinds of writings.
Correct. Yeah. For the ghost writing, I generally focus on business owners, or professionals, thought leaders, sometimes just people who have a story that they want to tell and leave as a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of author coaching, that kind of flips more to fiction. I find most people who have a fictional idea in their head or this long epic story,
Yeah.
they don't want someone else to write it, nor do I want to write it for them. That's the beauty of fiction, is it's
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
So I am there to coach them through it, to help them through plot development issues, character, story structure, making sure it's an engaging read, and allowing them to have the excitement and the accomplishment of writing that book themselves.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I've had two of my authors have written their own fiction books outside of us, right? Because I don't do fiction. But it's been fun to hear them tell the story and write it and see their book and read it. Because a great fiction book is very much like a movie in your mind when you do it right, with the plot twist and the cliffhangers and the, wow, how do you do that? It takes a lot to be able to do that. And I can see how having a coach like you could help somebody. I'm sure they get stuck going, what do I do? How's this character fit? Right? Is that so? Unpack that a little bit about, is that what you do in your coaching program?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. It's rather cliche, but I hear it so many times, and it's so true. Yeah, writers are so close to the trees, they can't see the forest.
Yeah.
And in your mind, and I'm the same way with my own writing. Sometimes I have to bounce off my beta readers or look for like a quasi coach, because you get so wrapped up in the story that you're telling that you may not realize, character A and character B met in the past, or they have this history, but you haven't explained that to anybody.
Right.
And that's just like one example, but you have to make sure that everything that is in your head is equally and clearly conveyed to your reader.
Dude, pause, man. All business owners who are on this, listening to this, did you just hear that? Because the same thing is true in marketing and business. You are so close to your business that you have forgotten 90% of what your client has never known, right? You've got to get it out and explain it to them in simple terms so they go, oh, that makes sense. And the rest is history. Excellent point.
As my own business consultant tells me you need, because I'm guilty of this myself. So sometimes I'll just start rattling through things and not realize not every writer knows all of the definitions and all of the components of a book. You've got to explain things like you're talking to a fifth grader.
Absolutely.
And business owners especially.
Business owners especially. And you don't do that on the first meeting, right? Usually you have a very simple 3-step process that we're going to take you through, and it's high level. Then when you become a client, now we're going to unpack each of those levels, have 22 steps in them, right? But you can't give that to them at the front end. You've got to get them involved, because otherwise they're going to say, I'll never write a book. No, it's really not that hard. I need you to speak and talk and follow my direction. So you coach them through it. That's way cool.
Correct. Yeah. I just need you to show up on these dates and times and be prepared to work with me. That's it.
That's really it, because they've got what they need, and the freedom and the joy after they hang up with you, I'm sure from a call, going, okay, I've got it. And they can take off for the next section or whatever. And they come back to you. Do you is it typically a once a week call? How does your coaching work?
So I leave that up to my clients. I do packages. So I start at 4 packages, 4 sessions. Some of my more, if someone's like at the real beginning stages of a book, we'll do 16, and they get to control it. So the whole package is good for a year. If they don't use them, they can gift them to somebody else, but they can meet with me once a week until they're out and then renew. They can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to work on all of the action points that you just gave me. And then I'm going to set my next appointment when I feel like I've got them ready to discuss.
Cool.
So it's completely client driven. I'm never there like, we need to meet this date and time. On the ghostwriting, I'm a little bit more of a whip cracker, because you're telling me what your deadline is. You're telling me what your desired outcome is. And now we're in a contractual relationship that I promised you I'm going to help you get there.
Right.
So yeah, you need to commit to meeting me on certain dates. Otherwise, we're not going to get there.
Sure. So we've had some clients come to us, and some prospects, I guess, who have wanted to write, their memoirs. They've been a business owner for 40 years and they want to write about some, just their life or something. And that's outside of our sweet spot, right? We can do it. The process works, but is that what you do is help? I mean, is that one aspect of what you do is help somebody tell their life story? Let's say in business. I've been an attorney for 40 years. I want to pass on to the next generation and my grandkids who I was and what I did. Is that kind of what you do to get them to the point of having the manuscript done?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. But that's where you stop, right? If I'm right, you don't like the publishing aspect of it.
Oh,
no. Right?
No. One, Michael, and that's why, like, when you and I spoke a few weeks ago, I think we just instantly connected because I realized you love what I don't. Yeah. I love the satisfaction on their face of knowing it's done, of reading it and saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. What next? Yes. And I love nothing more than saying, call me on your next book. For now, go talk to Michael.
That's right.
Those are your two next steps.
That's right. Yeah. Which is really cool. Because when you get in your sweet spot, everything becomes easier, right? You have found your sweet spot and to stay there and you know where that sweet spot ends. I have a sweet spot. I tell people all the time, Matthew, I do 4 things really well. Outside of those 4 things, I'm adequate, right? So I'm trying to stay within those 4 things in every area of life. And you're doing the same thing. Business owners need to do the same thing because it's too easy to get outside of our sweet spot because, oh, well, there's something I could do. Yeah, you could do that. Not worth it. Not worth it.
I love that you said that because as I mentioned earlier, when I first started this kind of trial and error, I was doing a portion of what you do. I could put it on Amazon. I can get it. It'll look beautiful. But I tell people just because I can doesn't mean I should. Because where do you go from there? It's going to go on Amazon and it's great. You can say it's there, but if you're not going to do something with it, like the skills that you bring to the table, you're almost doing yourself a disservice.
Right. Yeah. Just to be a published author, I mean, it's great. But if you don't know from a business perspective, if you don't know what to do with that book and how to market your credibility, so what? I know lots of business owners, Matthew, who have books. They're published authors. They're not doing anything. They're not making any money. And we don't make money on Amazon sales, right? That's not where you're going to make your money as a business owner. You're going to make your money because you're an expert, an author, and you're going to gain more clients. That's marketing. And that's why we built our entire credibility marketing platform, right? To teach our clients how to do that. Teach clients that you would work with to get their manuscript done. When they come to us, we'll publish them. Then we'll teach them how to use the book that you created for them to grow their business. And that's our passion. That's our sweet spot. I think it's really cool of what you do because not everybody, trust me, not everybody's a writer. And I would encourage, I mean, I know there are people listening here who've sat there and said, I've got an idea for a book. And it's like, okay, great. Now we can take you, depends on where you are, but if you just want to, the manuscript, if you want to work through it, Matthew's a great guy to connect with, Pen for Hire. It's Pen for Hire NYC.com because you're in New York City, right?
Correct. Yes.
Pen for Hire.
I was going to go with just penforhire.com, but apparently it's taken.
It's amazing how many domains are taken, but you just have to get a little creative. It's no big deal.
Absolutely. The NYC made perfect sense.
It does. Yeah. And we'll have a link for that in the show notes and things. So, but it's taking a first step, having a conversation with you, going to your website, figuring out what you do, having that conversation here's my thought. Is this what you do? Because some people, I work with some attorneys who are really good writers, but they need the direction. They need somebody like you to say, okay, don't go there, go here, take it this direction. And they're like, oh, and then they'll write it.
I've had a client, I still work with her. She's an English professor. An English professor.
There you go.
I was like, what do you need me for? And the exact same thing I mentioned before, same phrase and everything. I'm too close to it.
Yes.
I need someone I need to take myself out of it and show me how it should be organized. And that's what I did.
Yeah. And that's brilliant because the phrase that I use as I talk with my clients all the time is everybody needs a coach. Okay. I've got about 4 coaches in my business life and they all press into me in different areas to help me to see things that I have a marketing coach. I'm a marketing guy. Okay. Get it? But I have a marketing coach who looks into my business and goes, hey, DeLon, have you thought about this, dummy? Because I'm so close to my business. I can't market my business well. I have to have a coach looking on the inside. Exactly what you're doing with that English teacher or anybody else. We all need a coach to look from the in from the outside in because they can spot things so fast. And it's normally you're not doing something wrong. You're just too close. You're not thinking like a coach thinks.
And this was something that was kind of eye-opening for me as a writer, and someone who's always been stuck very much in a box of the corporate setting where there is no thought leader. Like, it's just do what I say. But if you look at the most successful people in the world, athletes, Olympians, they all have coaches, and multiple, like you just said, ones who coach them on conditioning, strength. If you're a thought leader, if you're a business owner, you need those people who are looking at everything that you may not be.
That's right. That's right. So as somebody's listening to this, they're sitting there, what's going through their mind right now? Let's say a good prospect for you. What's going on in their mind? They've got maybe an idea, they're struggling, or they don't know. What's going on in their head and their heart right now as they're listening to this going, maybe I should reach out to him. What are some things that stop people from taking that step to actually start writing their book and getting it done?
I think the major objections that I usually hear are that it's going to take too long, that it's going to be too expensive, that it's going to take too much of their personal time, not just the time of the project, but their personal time, or that they don't know who their target is. They don't know what to do with all of this information that's in their head.
Yeah.
And I'll just debunk all of those and say, I mean, cost does range depending on scope. Time will range depending on scope. The time committed will range depending on, you got to offset that on the other side, right? If you don't want to put in a lot of time, you're going to pay more money. And who you're reaching and the rest of that, that's what we do. We help figure out, who are you writing this for? What's your intended outcome? And then how can we take that material, put it together, and then send you to someone like you, Michael, to, now that you have that beautiful baby, send it off into the world.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really cool, because a lot of times people will get stuck with, I mean, I've had a number of clients. Well, I've got 6 books in me. I'm like, great, let's work on the first one, right? Now, I don't know if they ever do the rest of them, but coming to you and you could kind of parse out the 6 books in a sense and go, okay, here's the outline for this one. Here's the outline for this one. Here's the outline for that one. And a lot of times we'll work with somebody and they'll start talking. We're like, time out. That actually goes in book number 2 because it doesn't fit this, right? And I hear that's what you help people do is so somebody could come to you who has ideas to go, I want to write, but I'm not sure which direction to go. Great. Connect with Matthew and let him help you through 4 sessions, maybe, of saying, okay, here's where we are. Great. All right, now let's start working on this one so that maybe in the next 6 months, 9 months, you could actually have that manuscript done, because you've got an entire process that you teach them and coach them through that makes it faster, because typing a book takes forever. But there are other systems in place and ways to coach when a coach says, no, do it this way. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I mean, a couple of quick tips I'll just give out here. If anyone thinking to write a book has a blog, you already have content there pre-typed, ready to go. You can repurpose your blog information. If you put posts on LinkedIn that are excerpts of your knowledge and pertinent to your overall message, you can repurpose that. Guess what? No one's going to call it plagiarism. It's still all your words. You are entitled to reuse them however and wherever you want. It's just a matter of arranging them properly for that format, because a blog is going to read one way, a LinkedIn post is going to read another, and it's got to fit into your book like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle. Mm-hmm. But that's where I come in. You can eliminate a lot of the work and a lot of the cost by reusing information you already have.
That's brilliant. Blog to book. I love it, because I don't do that. Matthew does.
That is actually a service I just recently added.
That's great. Yeah. And a lot of people have those blogs that have been on there and there's great content. How do you repurpose it? Maybe freshen it up a bit, but that's something Matthew could help you with to get that book created. And then we'll teach you how to market it and monetize it. So that's a great tip, but so many times people just get stopped and they don't take that next step. And I think the next step is just to reach out to you and have a conversation. You mentioned earlier, before we started this thing, some kind of a free checklist thing that you have. What was that?
I have a ghostwriting checklist.
That's it. Yeah. What is that? I mean, and how does somebody get it?
You can head over to my website, www.penforhirenyc.com, or sign up for the in the pop-up where it says sign up for my mailing list, and you'll get that as a thank you. Awesome. Or just email me, Matt, M-A-T-T, @penforhire. hirenyc.com. And it is kind of like a cheat sheet or sneak preview into my 30-minute consultation session and all of the questions that I ask my prospective clients to get them thinking about the direction their book is going to go. Who is it for? What do you want to accomplish? Why are you someone who is able to speak about this? Why would someone want to read your words? Right? Like if you wrote a book on marketing, you clearly have a defined reputation behind you where someone's like, oh my God, I want to read Michael's book on marketing.
Yep.
So if you've never marketed something in your life and you come to me and say, I want to write the world's next book on marketing, we're going to have that conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Because we can still write it, but then when they get to you, you're going to have your work cut out for you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's good. All right. So, and that's going to be available at your website, pen for hire nyc.com. It'll be in the show notes as well. And then your call that you just say 30-minute call. So if somebody is there, they've been thinking about this book or the manuscript or a legacy book, right? They want to leave something for their kids, their grandkids, telling grandpa's story or whatever. That would be a time to reach out and have a call with you. Is that what I heard you do? You kind of do a 30-minute.
Absolutely. Everyone gets a 30-minute free consultation. We talk through the idea, basically, like I just said, everything in that checklist. We can discuss coaching, biography, business books, whatever it may be. And at the end of that call, hopefully the client will have an idea of how we can best work together if we're a good fit, how to proceed on their own, or what they need to do to get themselves ready to come back and start working with me.
That's great, man. And so much clarity you will have at the end of that call, because I find that's what stops people is lack of clarity. All right, I've got 3 words, Matthew. I try to live by. It's clarify, simplify, multiply, in that order. And if you don't have absolute clarity, you're going to wander. And you're going to be in a phase, in a daze. And so having that call with you for 30 minutes will bring a lot of clarity to what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And many times a coach, an outside set of eyes, can see that. And people say, well, in 30 minutes, how much can you really tell me? Trust me, I've had coaching calls that last 10 minutes and it's been life-changing going, wow.
I've had in 30-minute calls, I've had people who thought they had the next bestseller in them walk away from that call realizing I'm not anywhere near ready to start. And I've had people who didn't think they had a book in them walk away saying, oh my goodness, I've got 4 books in me.
Yes. Yeah. It's and that happens all the time. So I think what you do, Matthew, is phenomenal. I think there are a lot of people who are in my audience, but elsewhere who can connect with you because you can help them achieve something that is really a lifelong dream for many, is to be a published author, to take my words and get them out for the world to see and fulfill an inner desire. Because seeing your book, holding it in your hands, seeing it on Amazon and Kindle, there is nothing like that. It's incredible. What a great feeling. What a great ability to be able to help people get that done. And that's what you do with people. So let me encourage people who are listening, go to pen4hirenyc.com. Check out what Matthew does. Reach out, have a 30-minute call with him. See if he can help you, clarify all those spider webs in your mind and find a direction to say, wow, what do you have? You may have more than you think, but he's also going to help you figure out what the next step is, whether it's working with him, doing it on your own. He's got that coaching program, which is really cool. Starting out, I think he said 4 sessions over a year. So you can do it at your own pace. Just talk with him, reach out. Don't let, uncertainty, unclarity, fear, don't let it stop you. You can do it.
Thank you. I was actually, not to jump the gun, start with the 30-minute session, right? Because without motion, you don't go anywhere. An object in motion wants to stay in motion. But I would also say, even though you can use those 4 sessions over a year, don't make it like the January 1st gym membership. If you do decide to move forward, coaching is something, the more consistently you do it, the better the result you're going to get.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I couldn't have said it better. So reach out, Matthew. Thank you for just spending some time and opening up a new category for a lot of people, I think, who are on my list, who listen to this podcast, who aren't ready to do, to come my direction yet, because I don't do every type of book, but you do a lot of the types of books that I don't do. You can help business owners get their thoughts out. You can bring clarity. So I want to prop you up and say, way to go. Thanks for taking the journey of being an entrepreneur and putting yourself out there. And I'm glad that you're living the dream, man. It's fun to talk with other people who are excited about what they do.
Michael, I've had a blast. Every time we connect, it's amazing. I get revitalized, and I really, really appreciate you giving me this time and platform.
Well, you are welcome, brother. We will put all the information in the show notes. But again, Matthew Harms, it's pen for hire NYC.com. Just go to his website, get that free checklist, and check out his coaching. Have a free call with him and see how he can help you get your book out of your head and into print. Okay, Matthew, thanks again, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it, Michael. Thank you.